All right, guys, so we've learned about 4 types of sentences so far this week. They are statements, which tell something, questions, which ask something, commands, which tells or asks someone to do something, and exclamations, which express strong feeling. Today, we're going to be practicing punctuating sentences. Punctuating means choosing the correct type of punctuation to go at the end of the sentence. There's just a few easy rules to remember with this. First, it's important to remember that every sentence begins with a capital letter. Your punctuation at the end depends on the type of sentence. A statement ends with a period. A question ends with a question mark. A command ends with a period or an exclamation point, depending on how it's said. An exclamation ends with an exclamation point. There's a couple other things that we need to go over. Sometimes we have a tag question, kind of like this. It's true, isn't it? When you have a question like that, you use a comma to set off the question part. In this case, the question is, isn't it? It's a statement, it's true, followed by a question, isn't it? So we use a comma, like we do right here, to set off the tag question. Sometimes we direct a question to somebody specific. We usually use their name. For example, we say, "Is that you, Alan?" In that case, we would use a comma to set off the name of the person that we are directing the question to. Another kind of funny punctuation usage is an interjection. An interjection is a word or a group of words that expresses strong feelings. An exclamation point is used after an interjection. For example, you might say, "Hey, I'm happy to see you." Hey, in that case, is the interjection. It expresses strong feeling. All right, so now that you know these basic rules, we're going to do a little bit of practice. This practice tells us to add the proper punctuation to the end of the sentence, then write whether the sentence is a statement, a question, a command, or an exclamation. We'll do the first few together, and then I'll have you do the rest by yourself. All right, guys, sorry about that. I realized that I had put in yesterday's practice. Oops. Okay, here's the correct practice. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to read each sentence. The directions say to rewrite each sentence by putting capital letters and punctuation marks where they belong. So the first sentence says, "Did you hear about the elephants outside?" All right. Well, I can tell you right now that did is a question word, so I know this is going to be a question. I also know that every sentence needs a capital letter at the beginning. So I'm going to rewrite the sentence like this. I have a capital letter at the beginning and a question mark at the end because it's a question. The second one says, "They are coming to town for the fair." That's giving me information. It's telling me something. So I know that it's a statement. A statement ends in a period. I also know that every sentence starts with a capital letter. So I start my sentence with a capital letter and end with a period. Go ahead and do numbers 3, 4, and 5 on your own. Hit pause on the video. Now that you've had a chance to practice them on your own, let's go over the answers. Number 3 says, "Go over to the window to see them." That's telling someone to do something. That sounds like a command. A command can use either a period or an exclamation point depending on how it's said. But I think you could ask somebody nicely and just say, "Go over to the window to see them." I'm going to use a period. You'll notice that the other thing I included in my sentence was a capital letter at the beginning. Number 4 says, "This year's fair will be the best ever." That sounds like a strong feeling to me. This year's fair will be the best ever. Usually when you talk about something being the best ever, you get a little bit excited. So I think it's an exclamation. I'm going to use an exclamation point at the end. And of course, I'm going to use a capital letter at the beginning. The last sentence on this practice says, how much do elephants eat each day? How much tells me that this is a question and is going to need a question mark at the end and of course a capital letter at the beginning. All right, that's it for today. Talk to you tomorrow.